Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here playing something a little different today. This is Downhill Domination. Sometimes I just lie in bed and play random PlayStation 2 games on my GPD Win 2. Sometimes I get some good ones, like Downhill Domination. Sometimes I get some bad ones, like Samurai Western. That's not a very good game. And this one was so good that I ended up playing it for about 3 hours without even realizing. So if that doesn't give you an idea, I don't know how to help you any further. So, I am playing this on my big PC right now, which means I've got the internal res up to 1080p, which will make the game look a lot better, hopefully. And it'll also have the widescreen patch applied, but otherwise the settings are actually just pretty default on PCSX2, because this computer can handle it. Here's the controls, but I will go to the effort of explaining them if you don't want to read all this, but you can actually change to a fair few different kinds of control styles if you want it, but we're just going to stick with the default, which is Control Freak. You can put the difficulty up if you like. I'm going to keep it on medium because I want to appear at least slightly competent, although I probably could realistically take on hardcore if I wasn't trying to talk about the game. There's your sound settings. A little bit weird for the default settings there, but nothing too bad. You get some video clips, but most of these you have to unlock them. And you can load and save your data, look at your posters, and use the pickup editor, but that's actually an unlockable you get. I didn't actually bring over my save game for this. I did save up a fair bit of money and unlock a few things, but apparently there's some progress that carries over, some that doesn't. It's a little bit weird, so we're just going to start fresh. It doesn't really matter too much anyway. There are a couple of extra modes I won't be able to show off, but they're more like mini games than anything else, and you have to unlock them with a... I just realized the jiggle physics are there. That's kind of great. Nevertheless, you have a few stereotypical sort of people, but nothing too out of the ordinary for an extreme sports game from the 2000s. You do also have some unlockable riders and even some pro riders, which is cool, but again, you have to buy them, which I haven't done. So we're just going to go back and we're going to pick Jiggle Physics Girl because I actually played as her just for no reason whatsoever.
All right, I am ready to race.
The accents aren't great, I will admit. So you have the option of doing a fair few things, actually. Training is exactly what it sounds like. Career is a series of long events where you can spend money to upgrade your bike along those lines. Single event is just one race. And Mosh Bowl is combat. Super Jump is literally just a long ramp. You do tricks off it and you try and land in the right spot in order to get a multiplier. But we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to go straight into arcade, which is exactly what it sounds like. Just a bunch of races end on end. Nothing wrong with that idea at all. So you can change what bike you're using, and you can also upgrade them when you get some money in the bank. But in this case, there don't appear to be any available ones. You can also change your outfit and the color of your bike, which is a nice little customization option to have. Nothing wrong with that. Back it up. You can also come over here to see your bonus purchases. There's a fair few of them. And that is actually a lot of money. All of this is a fair amount of money, so it'll take you a little while to actually unlock all of this. Kind of neat, they actually include a bloody pickup editor and a fog editor. Not very often you see little things like that in games like this. A couple of glitches going on with the widescreen patch, but nothing too much to worry about. You also have sponsorships. These don't actually affect anything. I think these just tell you how your performance is going. Like, I unlocked everything in the Super Career just by finishing it, so I assume it's just like a weird little set of achievements for you if you want to worry about that sort of thing. Your resume contains your stats, but there's not going to be anything useful there at this point. So we're just going to hit start. And it's going to drop us off in a race. I need to put my feet down so that my chair doesn't creak under me. Loading times are reasonable considering this is a PlayStation 2 game.
Currently 5 degrees Celsius up there at the top. Now keep your eyes open. There's an electrical storm been reported towards the lower half of the mountain.
He's not kidding. There's a big fucking storm going on at the bottom of this mountain. You get a big overview of the course you're going over, and I just need to take a moment to actually really appreciate the course design in this game to the point where they can actually show it off like that, because god damn son, some of these mountains are gorgeous. Down I go. Yeah, some of these mountains are absolutely gorgeous for a PlayStation 2 game. Like, I've played SSX, for example, And the mountains on SSX are good-looking mountains, don't get me wrong, but god damn, this game just beats it. This game just puts SSX over a rock and beats it with how beautiful its mountains are. But anyway, we should probably talk about the actual game we're playing. So this is Downhill Domination. The controls are very simple. You hold the X button to pedal, and if you double tap it, you start sprinting, but it has a stamina meter that it drains. This game's also got combat. You press the square or the circle button to throw left or right, and depending on the pickups you pick up in the world, and how many people you manage to actually knock off their bikes, you get upgraded weapons or just upgraded ways of attacking. You start out with a simple punch, but you eventually move up to kicks, hip checks, a stick, which is you literally just stick a stick in their wheel, which is hilarious. And then you get to do bottles, which are just long-range projectiles. And that's awesome, actually. That's pretty damn awesome. How do you earn more stamina for keeping your speed up? By doing tricks and picking up green pickups. Yellow pickups give you extra weapon levels, so it'll actually put you up to the next kind of attack. The red are adrenaline, and adrenaline will send you flying as a... Ouch. Adrenaline will send you flying like a gigantic boost. Allow me to demonstrate. Whoosh. Get that as soon as you're about to go over a gigantic jump, and you will get some massive speed out of it. I'm gonna have to put the difficulty down to hardcore. I'm up to hardcore, aren't I? Because look how far ahead I am right now. This is easy. But anyway, I'll just continue talking about the game. You can also do power slides, which I just demonstrated a little bit there, but not too well. And you do have tricks that you can do. Tricks in this game are incredibly simple. You can press any combination of the shoulder buttons once you're up in the air. You can hold R2 down in order to get a sort of bunny hop boost going on, a la Ollieing and Tony Hawk. And that'll get you a little bit of extra air. But for the most part, it'll be determined by the size of the jumpy going off and how much speed you have once you're actually going off it. You can use any combination of buttons whatsoever. So if I hold Alt4, I can do a McMets. Or if I hold L1 and R1, I can do a Superman. You do also have a red meter down there that's currently full up. And if you use that by pressing triangle during at the end of a combo, so you have to press all your buttons and hold them down, and then you have to you have to press triangle while keeping your fingers on those buttons. So there. That Superman Super Style there was me holding triangle after I was already doing a Superman, and that'll earn you even more points. However, if you do end up getting your shit kicked in that case doing something like this. No, never mind. I thought I could actually crash there. Let's make that easier. There we go. So it's downgraded my combat ability, and it's also giving me a little bit less on my trick meter. So yeah, you do need to build that back up again by just taking out more people or getting the pickups. There is also the orange pickup, which gives you a quick mount, which is basically just when you go down, you get back on the track a lot faster. I don't remember exactly what was it, the blue ones do? Was almost able to find out there, but just barely missed it. Ouch. But yeah, that's all the basic gameplay mechanics. So, I guess we'll get started with riding bikes. Riding bikes in this game is amazing. Now, I know I don't say that, well actually, to be fair, I do say that kind of often, but the physics in this game are just right. It feels great being able to do even the most minor of movement just by lightly tapping the stick. And the physics are absolutely perfect for it. It's actually kind of For a PlayStation 2 game, it's really cool how even the most minor of touches does make a significant shifting of weight on your bike. I'm just going to put the difficulty back up. Hope we don't have to go through Italy again, but we'll see in just a moment. We'll go with someone with a...
Like I need you to pick me.
With a less silly accent. And yes, they are all at extreme by just jumping off and immediately summoning a bike, nevertheless. And so let's see what race we have to do first. It's Italy. Alright, I'm going to do something a little different, and we're going to cut the... We're going to jump cut, so... Alright, so we're going to move on to another FR mountain now. But anyway, I am playing a different character.
The course is really burning up out there. It's approximately 100 degrees right now with no sign of cooling down, so take it easy.
I'm not going to spoil everything on the race this time. But yes. Anyway, as I was saying, the bike itself feels amazing. Now, as far as I can tell, there's not much in the way of actual differences between characters, and the bikes just get better, which means they can just do certain things like steering and all of those sorts of things better. Gotcha. Yes, random bloody... What are those? Ah. Get it. Ow. Keep going, keep going. But yeah, the bike is amazing. The physics are really well tuned, and even the slightest touch can have a big effect. And it works great. It feels amazing to ride around on this bike, just because it's so responsive underneath your left analog stick that even the slightest touch can even make the biggest of differences on a larger track. Yes, you can run down random people, and yes, they will just fly out of the way like the ragdolls that they are. It never does feel like you are out of control. Even on the more difficult technical tracks, you have absolute 110% control of your bike, and it is awesome. You never feel like that a particular crash couldn't have been avoided. Sure, there are some tracks which are like, oh, you didn't pick the right path down because you didn't know what was coming, so you get to die. Those are a thing in this game. But someone with at least a relatively decent knowledge of each track would be more than capable of getting through these while surviving. It's definitely the same sort of... It's definitely the same sort of technical challenge you would see in SSX, just as an example. Damn, but... Well, I got my quick mountain pickup, so I got to get back on the track real quick, but I'm losing speed, must not lose speed. Hardcore definitely seems to be keeping up with me a lot more than the normal difficulty is, which is nice, actually. Really got to give credit to the track designers as well for not only being able to create some really interesting courses. Now, the courses themselves are actually really stereotypical. Like, say, imagine I was to tell you that this game had a track based in Russia. What would you expect? Freezing cold mountain, polar bears, and industrial sectors. That is pretty much the entirety of the Russia course. There is also a course set in Japan. Again, what do you expect? Onsens, cherry blossoms, and just a really nice looking track. That's pretty much the entirety of it. And every track, there's one in Hawaii that has you going down through an active volcano and eventually ending up beachside. And that is a really cool track. They have done a really good job with not only making these tracks look great, but giving them multiple routes. So you can go down pretty much, well, not pretty much any track, but at least the FR tracks. There are different kinds of tracks, and I'll get to them. But these big-ass tracks here that have tons of different routes down, lots of set pieces, and some really well-designed roads down so that not only can you take multiple roads down, but they're not just like flat roads. They have bumps, they have curves, they have massive jumps, they have everything they need to really take advantage of the game's physics, and you can sense your bike going over every individual bump in the track. It's really well done. And I'm kind of disappointed that this game didn't get any kinds of sequels, because Jesus wept, I would love to see a... Oh god. I would love to see a sort of sequel to this game with modern day technology, because holy crap, the sort of stuff you could do with this concept on modern day hardware would be insane. Bye. I'm going so fast right now. I kind of need to get my energy back up before I do much else. Ah, dear. Shouldn't have went for that one. Also, there's lots of advertising in this game, if you couldn't tell. I mean, the sponsors makes perfect sense, sure, but giant blimps that say eBay, little bit odd. And there are also some tracks, like there's this one that takes place in France, which has you going down these really complicated areas with tons of, has you going down these really complicated paths through castles, and there is absolutely no way anyone but you would see these sorts of advertisements, so it's a little bit bizarre when they do, but still. I'm actually really impressed I won that. Alright, select the next level. We'll do... oh. I don't actually get access to the other tracks yet? Well, that's disappointing. Okay, let's see if we can find out a way to unlock all the tracks. I'll be right back. Well, I'm here, and I unlocked everything via the magic power of cheat codes. Remember when those were a thing? Those were great. So let's go and see who our bonus riders are. We've got Raycool, Drud, and some pro riders. Kind of surprising they didn't include these guys right off the bat. Also, Kineticlops. I didn't even see him down there. We are so playing as Kineticlops. We cannot, under any circumstances, not play as this guy. Holy shit, look at him. Alright, so we did also unlock Mosh Bowl and Super Jump, but again, we don't really need to worry too much about that. We're just going to hit the races up. Alright, so inventory. We do also have all the bikes. There's a ton of bikes, actually, so I can actually just upgrade us to a really nice bike, which is cool. And also some... How about some eBay colors? Oh, it doesn't really fit him. Oh, what a shame. Alright. Can't spend too long fiddling around with that. No available upgrades. I've got all the bonus purchases now, including the Camelback bonus, Sparky Tricks, and Stretchy Mode. Why not? We'll turn them all on. We'll see what they're all like. There is no reason not to do this. And yeah, all the sponsorships have been unlocked. So yeah, I'm guessing those are actually skins that you unlock. Okay, that's more than fair. Didn't even think of checking the jerseys, but alright. Let's go pick a race. So we've got Red Pass, Mount Kowanaki, Quintaro, Zorovaska. Yep, there are a lot of different courses in this game. There's actually a fair few. But we're going to go with Mount Kowanaki. I think this is the Hawaii level. Yep, this is the Hawaii level. So you get to see volcanoes and beaches and good-looking ladies. Oh my.
That's a gorgeous day here on Mount
This game looks so good. Like, even when I was playing it on my GBD Win at native resolution, because it can't really handle much else, I was still thinking, holy shit, this game is gorgeous. Anyway, I'm just going to take the time to punch a bunch of people. The combat in this game is fun, and it does remind me of a bit of a slightly faster Road Rash. My main problem with it is that once the race is... Jesus. Once the race is completely started, you're not that likely to actually need combat unless you're throwing bottles at... Wow. Unless you're throwing bottles at people, because everybody just gets so split apart that it becomes untenable to try and beat the shit out of people. It's unfortunate. Whoa, that's a... That is some very sparky tricks. Oh dear. I just fart red, green, and blue because why not? There are some other mechanics I haven't quite gone over yet. Like, you can see these black diamond flags. They just give you bonus points. And you earn cash depending on how well you do, both in placement, getting to checkpoints first, which will give you a monetary bonus, and by beating the shit out of people, and by doing tricks. So, your tricks give you more boost, more money, and... Tricks give you more boost, more money, and the inability to get over volcanoes. So you should always be doing them! Because there's no reason not to. Just, like, even if you don't want to remember, like, a specific trick, just hit a few shoulder buttons once you leave the ground. That works. Not only does that work, it actually gets you a fair amount of points. It'll double whatever money you're making. So, there's literally no reason not to. And it feels great to land a trick as well, although you can definitely do a bad landing and lose some speed because of it. That is definitely a thing you can suffer with. But yeah, this game is gorgeous. It runs at a really nice frame rate too. Doesn't seem to trip up the emulator in any way whatsoever. I was playing this on my GPD Win 2, which is significantly weaker, and the game only dropped frame rates like twice in a 3-hour period where I went through every course in the game. So the game is pretty good for relatively weaker PCs, although again, it's PlayStation 2 emulation. You don't want to spend too much time on... You don't want to put it on like a Core 2 Duo with a GTX 8600 or something. You do want something that's relatively modern, but still. I'm doing pretty well here. Goodbye. Some of these ragdoll animations are absolutely amazing, by the way. Like, I'm not even going to try taking this at full speed, mainly because I can do... Wait for him to... Oh, he crashed, and so did I! But unfortunately, that leaves me with a hip check now, because I cannot control my bike around these turns. And freeze. Thankfully, the game is forgiving. You get back on the track so quickly. The only real way you can effectively lose if you've got a relatively good lead is if you fuck up massively. Which I appreciate. Good punch. Good punch. You can ride in water, but you get absolutely no speed off it, so you do need to get out of it as fast as humanly possible. And pray to God, oh God. And pray to God you don't run into anyone on the way down. I really need to put on the speed here. So I'm going to lose if I don't. So there are 3 different kinds of tracks. You've already seen the longest ones, which are the FR tracks. There are also the MX tracks, which are not as long and have less races on them. You also have the technical tracks, which are really short, but also quite difficult to get through. Come on, I can get ahead, I can get ahead. Yes! Yes!
Fantastic first place.
Yep, give me a new level. Let's do, Yeah, we'll do the MX version of Mount Quintanaru. The tracks are completely different, by the way. They aren't just like shorter versions of the longest track. No, they are completely different.
I'm so ready for this one. It hurts. Make some noise.
Racers, take your mark.
Crap out of them, because why not? So yeah, this is one of the shorter tracks in the game. And it's definitely a more technically oriented track. These tracks also do have a lot more obstacles in the way. They love putting, like, just like wheel height branches that can absolutely destroy you in these tracks. So you do really need to be careful. Also going too fast around the corner to do that, which sucks. But Buck, not fuck, Buck. Got it. Thank you. Right. Yes, you can definitely learn these tracks a lot better. Learn when to hit the brakes, learn when to put on the speed, and learn when to not just trick endlessly. Unfortunately, these shorter tracks just aren't as impressive. They don't have anywhere near the sort of set pieces you might expect from having played the longer races. And if you play the Super Career, which is literally just every track in the game, you end up not being able to really... You end up not really seeing anything. It's the same thing with the TD tracks, which are just slightly longer, but otherwise not as impressive as the really long ones. So we're just going to go to Russia and play the longest track possible. In the Super Career, you do have to play through all of the tracks, including all of their different iterations. So you may also get sick of some areas, but thankfully, again, there's only 3 areas per mountain, so you don't end up getting too sick of them. It just, yeah, it might take a little bit. There's no reason not to beat the ever-loving bejesus out of literally everyone as soon as you come out of the starting gate, because it might actually get you a couple of combat upgrades. God, look at this mountain! I've got my bottles, so screw you guys! There's the polar bears. I told you they were there, didn't I? These physics are just so good. It's so satisfying to get down a really difficult area without so much as wobbling. Clearly, I'm not 110% capable of that under most circumstances, but when you do it... Jesus, it's so good. I'm so disappointed this engine didn't make it to any other games, or at least as far as I'm aware anyway. This is a Codemasters property, and I don't think I've heard of Codemasters doing anything like this again. Which is a real shame. It's just so satisfying to fly down these mountains. Right, fellas. It just got wiped out by a fucking stalagmite. Or is it a stalactite? I don't know, I don't care. It's just sweet as. And that's good enough for me. And I keep getting wiped out by the bloody... thin mountain path. Pickups respawn really quick too, but there are the situations sometimes where enemies will be just far enough ahead of you to actually get the pickup before you can get it, which kind of sucks, but, you know, there's not much you can really do about it in most circumstances. There are also other career modes as well. There is the freestyle career, which is more or less you just going down the long mountains, trying to pull off as many tricks as possible, and trying to also pull off a set of goals, like get 1,000 points in a single trick chain, do 8 tricks, unique tricks, do wheelies and manuals, which are actually a thing in this game, but I am not good enough at them to do them consistently. They do earn you points though, which is nice. Oh god. Pump iron, Cyclops. Pump iron. Were those genome soldiers? What the... Oh. Well, that was definitely an APC. I can guarantee that. I'm guessing that's just the Russian military uniform, but still, they really do look like genome soldiers when you're blowing past at 60 miles an hour. The music ain't too bad either. Fits the theme, and there's actually a fair amount of tracks. Like, you start out with like 15, and then you can unlock another 15 by paying for them, which is nice. Yeah, that one was my fault. Overcorrected that and ended up in almost in the wall for it. God almighty. This feels faster than most racing games I've played. Just the sense of speed you get by flying down these incredibly detailed mountains is awesome. Alright, give me a new level. We'll go and play, the Japan level, why not? How long have we been at this? I haven't even been paying attention. 34 minutes! Fantastic. Alright, after this we will go and check out some of the other modes.
Alright, now watch for the thick fog, rain, and snow near mid-mountain. Weather seems to be changing fast.
Get out of my damn way. You know what this could almost be? Like, this almost feels like Onrush. Remember Onrush? This almost feels like that game. Where you're just doing things to earn as much boost as humanly possible. And beating the crap out of everyone in the process that gets in your way. Just, yes, I approve of this comparison wholeheartedly. It seems to have the same sort of... What's the word I'm looking for? Like, the same energy, that's the word. Like, you know those memes on the internet, where it's like Kirby and the pink-haired girl from Yuru Camp, same energy? Same sort of thing going on here, in my personal opinion. Skill-based driving with really nice-looking courses. A sort of, I don't want to call it tube, it's like, kind of like the equivalent of 2000's Tude, which is something that Onrush actually had a fair amount of, except it was more modern day. Damn polar, no, it wouldn't be polar bears, would it this time? We're in Japan, it'd be grizzlies. Good night. See, look, you can take that route. You don't have to follow the highway. You can just go and do that. And there are a lot of places where you might think, oh, they'll probably just automatically reset me on the track going this way. No, there are times like that. But for the most part, the game's actually really free about the way you go down the mountain. Obviously, some ways are going to be slower than others, but it's more than welcome to just let you fiddle around on the side with no clear paths sometimes if you feel like it, which is a really nice change of pace from the sort of games that'll put you back on route if you so much as stray off the path. the very specific linear path that they absolutely require you to do. And that I can appreciate. So yeah, really intelligent level design. Even if there's only like 9 or so courses with like, you know, shorter variants along the same theme, I can still appreciate just how good these 9 courses are, because they are just that awesome. And I love just how much the view changes. We started at the top of a snowy mountain style, and now we went through a forest along a highway, and now this is the point where the game changes into letting us go through a bunch of onsens. You can even wipe out people if they're unlucky enough to be below my tires. It's adorable. I'm pretty sure I just knocked that poor lady out with my back wheel. Ouch. Shit. Must have hit that just a little bit too hard. Said no one ever. Ow. Oh, okay. The blue ones are also a combat upgrade. Fair enough. Well, I'm definitely going to lose this one, but considering how many tracks I've actually come first on at this point, you can see that I'm at least slightly competent at the way the game works. And I am still playing on hardcore difficulty. I didn't turn that down during the jump cut or anything. Don't know who that guy was, but he just felt steel. Oh yeah, this part. Poor Shrine Maidens. And, Shira and the Wanderer looking dudes. Of course I hit the wall on the very last obstacle. There is a downside to having lower positions. Because when you, lower positions not only give you less cash, but when you're playing on the actual campaigns, you do have to do something along the lines of, say, play through the same race again, and they give you points every time you're successful. So you end up in a position where you need to, just do the race like 2 or 3 times. Eventually you'll have the points you need. We'll just play as Cosmo this time, why not? We'll do the Mosh Bowl. And we'll just hit start. We won't worry about configuring his stuff. This is just a neat side mode, nothing more.
Racers, take your mark.
But yeah, it's a mosh bowl. You ride around and you try and kick other people's asses. More or less. Very road rash. Actually kind of neat. You do also have the adrenaline booster here. If you run into the adrenaline booster, you will get thrown off the edge of the arena and knocked the fuck out. They will not be afraid to do that. Come here. Come here. Damn it, I missed. I appreciate that this is an extra mode, even though kind of annoying you have to unlock it, because the amount of money you need is actually kind of silly, but then again, someone playing this game over the course of like 10 hours, which, considering how fun it actually is to play this game, considering how fun Downhill Domination is, I could believe someone playing this for multiple hours at a time. Where the fuck is he? He was right in front of me for a second there. Oh, there he is. Where the fuck were you going, mate?
Sorry, mate.
Bottles. Where is he?
School, mate.
Gotcha. Look, you almost got me there, mate, but There we go. That's just a neat little side mode, and there's one more neat little side mode, which is the Mega Jump, the Super Ramp, whatever the fuck it's called, because I do not remember what it's called. Can't not play as Kineticlops one more time. We'll just hit start again. If you've ever played, what was it called? Monkey Target, this will look slightly familiar. Just the fucking speed and jump. Nope. Oh. Hey, that actually counted. And yeah, you do this just a bunch of times if you want, but what's the fog editor do? Exactly what it sounds like. That's actually kind of neat. What a neat little thing to have. What's the poster maker? It's a photo mode! That is actually kind of neat. And I imagine you can put that poster up somewhere. But yeah, that's an unlockable. So yeah, that was a look at Downhill Domination. The physics are fantastic for a PlayStation 2 game. Riding down the mountains is really fun, and they have a lot of really well-designed tracks to help keep it that way. The technical stuff I'm not that big of a fan of. You do need to earn a lot of money to unlock everything, but, well, I guess that's kind of the thing, isn't it? And there are a lot of different modes to keep you engaged for a fair amount of time. And considering this game's also got 4-player split screen for everything, it would be a lot of fun to play with friends if you could convince them to all get around a PlayStation 2. I enjoyed the game immensely, and I would happily recommend it if you can get your hands on it. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.